Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, everybody. How we doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing fine. Hopefully we are doing well. Let's see, let me pin. Make sure that you go ahead and like the thumbnails is getting you. And this was the inspiration, Miss Alicia. This is what we gonna talk about, because we as a group of people, we are just about extinct. We just about extinct. We are being replaced in mass. If you don't know that the immigrants being let in this country is to take our place and basically make us obsolete, if you don't know we're going to be obsolete, or we pretty much already are in this country, I don't know. I don't know how to help. For those of you who have been with me for years, this is going to seem like a refresher course, but we need it. So even if you heard about this, you might want to stick around, because we still got to go over these very important points. Because we are stuck. We stuck at the bottom, and we're going to be stuck in obsolescence in history. We say things, we talk about Black culture, we talk about white survivalism, we talk about the system, but we don't even know what that is anymore. We have lost complete knowledge, and we have lost complete sight, and we have lost complete understanding of what it is. I keep saying that we don't understand how the world works. So this is a refresher course. And we're going to share our good guy, Brother Bo. We're going to share Brother Bo again. His video is 3 years old. This video right here that we going back over, 3 years old. And I'm going back over it because he encapsulates points perfectly. This is almost a perfect video, especially for what I want to talk about today. He says it beautifully. Okay? This is Mr. Cartwright right here. And he's telling you what's up. And he's talking to his demographic of people. Exactly, Al. This is Bo of the 5th column. This is who this is. Okay? And while I don't watch his content, I kept this video because this video is probably one of the key, most important videos for the Black community on any platform, aside from any video that might have been done by one of our scholars or one of our activists. Aside from them, aside from the information that we could get from them, this is probably one of the most informational, educational, and highly important video. Because again, like I said in the first time that I went over this video a few years ago, if we not talking about this, we not talking about nothing. This is the reason why I talk about what we do in our culture so much. This, what I'm about to explain, is why I talk about the ills of our community and the mindset so much. I don't just talk about that to be sensational or to keep up with the latest viral videos. I touch on biology, culture, and environment. And I touch on bioculturons, but I have to do a deep dive again today, which is what we're going to do. He calls it moral, ethical, legal. That is the terminology that Bo is going to use. Moral is biology, ethical is culture, legal is environment. Just so you understand, so I can link the terminology with and correlate it and relate it to what we talk about. When he says moral, he means biology, because your moral, what you think, what you believe, your core beliefs, all of that is located in your biological set. That is under biology. When he says ethics, ethical, that is going to be culture. That is going to be culture. Culture includes ethics, unwritten policies, social policies, okay, social influences. And when he says legal, that's going to mean environment, because not only is this the physical environment, we're talking about the system within the environment, the system that runs the environment. Legal, the law of the land, the institutions. So I need to make that correlation and relation for you before we delve into this topic. So we're going to let him start from the beginning, and we're going to break down point to point what he's talking about. Here we go.
We're going to talk about how to raise your kids. Not really. I'm not really going to tell you how to raise your kids. But I've had a number of questions related to one thing in particular when it comes to kids and instilling values. And it's basically, how do I discuss philosophy and politics with my children and not create little ideological foot soldiers? Okay, first, let me just stop here. If this is even remotely a concern of yours, you're not going to do it. You'll discuss things in a way that allows them to develop their own values. If this has even crossed your mind, you're not going to do it. But there are some techniques that can be used to help people determine their own values. And these are actually, you're familiar with them because I use them on this channel. If you're talking to your kids about philosophy and politics.
Did you hear what he just said? He said there are tools that you can use to get people to set their own value system, to set their own value system, to not have what he called ideological foot soldiers. You don't want the carbon copy. You don't want to tell them what their morals should be, what their ethical should be, what the legal should be. You want them with the ability to determine these things for themselves. And he's talking, listen, look me in my eyeballs when I tell y'all this. He's talking about children. He is saying specifically that this is how you raise your children, not adults. This is not how you talk about adults. This is not how you go get grown folk that think they right. Your children, the people that are growing up in your house, how to ensure that these people can walk away from you once they hit adulthood, able to think and process their own value system. What do we talk about with our kids? What we tell our kids? You know what we busy? You know what we busy doing with our kids? We busy with this. That's what we like to do with our kids. We like this. We do this with our kids. Huh? Do this look like philosophy to you? Do this look like teaching them their own how to think and create their own value system to you? Or do this look like foolishness? The foolishness that not a man in sight. Huh? This is what we talk about. This is what we got our kids out here doing. This is what we think is important to our children. We think this is important with our kids, to twerk in front of them, to sexualize them. These are little children. Once again, these are little children. What are they? 4, 5, 8. They might be 6, 7. Let's go back. This is what we teach our kids sexy red. Huh? We teach our kids whoever. We teach them Cardi B. We teach them all kind of foolishness. We'll teach them about how they don't know if they boys or girls. We'll teach them gender foolishness, but we won't teach them this. And the main reason why we don't teach them this is because we don't know it. We grown 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And we as a whole, as a group, we do not understand moral, ethical, legal. In other words, we do not understand biology, culture, environment, and the confluence of the three. How they each affect one another. They are not happening in a vacuum. They are not by themselves. And one influences the other always. Always. And when they converge, when there is a heavy influence in all three areas, a value system is created. We don't know nothing about that. Because we think little kids supposed to twerk. We don't know nothing about all of that. We don't know nothing about all of that. We get on here and we have debates about the stupidest stuff when it comes to our kids. We have all it don't stop. I got some more things to share with you about what we doing with our kids. But we're going to come back to both.
You're treating them as an adult. If you're wanting them to develop their own values, you're treating them as an adult. So you can use the same techniques that are used with adults. The first is discuss ideas and policy, not people and parties or rigid ideological structures. Name a politician I endorse. You can't. Name policies I endorse. You name a whole bunch. That's how it works. If you remove the person from the equation and you're just talking about the policies, they can't look to that person that they agreed with once and use that to shape their other opinions. So if you see somebody starting to get a hero, somebody that they're going to use to shape their own beliefs, you have to humanize them. Nobody is perfect. Heroes were people. People are fallible. They make mistakes. They're not.
This is key. What he just said, Black people don't understand that. We don't know that. We don't know that. When he said you have to separate, even if you agree, you have to separate the people from what you agree and disagree with so that you don't fall victim to the cult of personality, to the hero worship. Black folk got that bad. Oh, we got that so bad. We gonna hero worship if we don't do nothing else. And then we get mad when the people that we hero worshiped turn out to be people that were, after all, not perfect, that were fallible, that had different ideas and things that we didn't agree with. We get all the way bent out of shape with that. We get all the way bent out of shape with that. It's all or nothing with us. It is all or nothing with us. If we like you or we like something you said on a particular subject, then we gonna bandwagon you. You bet not say nothing that we don't agree with. We'll throw you in the garbage. We will throw you all the way in the garbage. Because we think that we have to agree, that we have to get a follower. And I said this before, we got a savior's complex as a people. We got a savior's complex. We want one individual or whatever to save us. We want somebody to come along and walk on water and save us. That's what we want. We don't want to have to critically think. We don't want to have to question this person or at any time disagree with this person or at any time formulate our own thoughts. We like hero worshiping. If you ever wondered why I can get on here and disagree with Candace Owens' whole shtick, but also agree with some of the points that she makes, that's because the truth is the truth no matter where it is and no matter who mouth it come out of. Because the devil will tell you the truth every once and again. Every once in a while, he'll say something true. And just because he the devil and he the father of lies, don't mean that one instance he didn't tell the truth. Yes, he did. But just because he told the truth at that time, don't mean you get to follow everything he say because he a liar. We don't know how to separate that stuff. That's why they can come destroy our leaders and destroy the people who fought for us and things. They can come and destroy their reputation long after they dead. They can try to destroy the reputation of Martin Luther King Jr. Man died. He gave us the ultimate sacrifice. If you really don't need to say nothing because everything he did is in the past. He can't correct it whether it was wrong or right. Now they get to come along and say he was cheating on Coretta. He was doing this, he was doing that. He had this skeleton in the closet, that skeleton in the closet. And we let that kind of stuff completely shake us. They try to come back and say something about Brother Malcolm. He had this skeleton in the closet. That's because, so? Man still gave his life. His life was still what it was. He still did what he did. It don't change nothing that he did. And we get mad at each other when we don't do everything. Thank you. This actually was a good point, David. Let's take Deion Sanders, how everybody was mad at that man. Why are you mad at that man? He came first to the HBCU. That was the first stop. First stop was the HBCU. And because he did not waste his whole self, all his wealth, all his everything, and all his time piddling about with them so that they can try to make a fool out of him, so they can try to steal from him, so they can try to talk bad on his name and all that other kind of stuff, run him through the mud. And he didn't want to stay for all of that. And he went elsewhere. Now he was demonized because he went to Colorado. You just chasing after a bag. You know, that's another thing. We sure don't like to see each other get no money. Why we don't like to see nobody get no money. We got that bad too. That if you supposed to be, quote unquote, for the cause of Black people, then you ain't supposed to be compensated for your time, energy, the possible threats on your life, it depending on how you helping the community and whether or not that puts you in a vulnerable position. And Black folk want you, well, I'm going to say this, I'm going to go back to the video. Black folk want you, they want to put you through everything and want you to stay. Black folks want to put you through all kind of foolishness. And if you don't stick by them through the foolishness, then you no good. You was no good. You wasn't really, your intentions was bad. If you don't let, if we don't let each other run, if we don't let each other run over each other, we got to be ran over. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. We got to be ran over. Black folk want to be able to trample all over you, disrespect you, do all kind of stuff to you, and you supposed to take it talking about, well, you know how our people is. You know what? Get all the way up out my face. Get all the way up out my face.
Right on everything. So when you see your child start to, let's say, look up to FDR a whole lot, maybe it's time to break out a book about what happened to the Japanese in the U.S. during World War II. Teach them history, not mythology. Don't let them have heroes that they view as infallible. Okay, it's okay to have heroes, but make sure you understand their mistakes, their errors. If you do this, you remove the cult of personality that comes with historical figures. Because if they fall into that, they'll ignore all of the negative stuff. We see this today with a lot of Trump supporters. They will ignore everything negative that he does because they don't support a policy or an idea. They support a person and maybe an emotional attachment. And we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Doing that will help them determine their own values.
It's so important what he just said. What he just said. I hope y'all are listening. I hope y'all are listening to him. So important. We have such a bad problem with cult of personality. We got such a bad. That's really been one of the bigger downfalls of our community. We can't separate nothing from nobody. Whether we like them or dislike them, we can't separate nothing from them. We blindly will go. We'll either blindly love or blindly hate somebody. We will either blindly love or blindly hate somebody. And that's how they can get us. That's how they can get us to go one way or the other that benefits them. This is how they get us doing anything, whether it's voting, whether it doesn't matter what it is, to go against our own interest, playing the emotional part of us. This is why I kept saying last week, we got to separate the emotion out of stuff. Stop getting an emotional attachment to people. And then when they be people in your face, you get mad. When they show you all of their flaws and shortcomings and all of this other stuff, you get mad at them. But that was your problem, that you put them in this space where they couldn't be wrong. We can't afford. The reason why I'm talking about take your emotions out of it is because we are too far gone. We as a group of people cannot afford to be emotional about none of this stuff. Even if it is an emotional subject matter, we cannot allow ourselves to be blinded by how we feel or think we feel about any particular subject or person that may represent something. We can't do that. We can't do that. Because they don't do that. They know better than to do that. Because when they fall, the reason why white people are so careful about that and not falling into the cult of personality is because you get Hitlers like that. That's how you get those. That's how you get those. That's how you get all of their cult leaders, the David Koreshes, and that's how you get them. That's how you get them. Blindly following and then dismissing every red flag and every negative thing about the person that they have somehow emotionally attached themselves to. They know that it leads them down a dark path. They know the path that it comes to. It's destructive to do that. Somehow we as a group of people, we have not figured that out at all. We think everybody is supposed to be God. We think everybody's supposed to be God. To the point where we can't have certain conversations that we need to have. Thank you, Doc. With some Black people, you can't criticize Barack Obama. You can't criticize his policies because somehow him being the first Black president and that being a historical point trumps his politics that he was involved in. No. Why we can't talk about them policies? Why we can't talk about the things that he actually put into place? Why we can't talk about the laws that was passed? Why we can't go over them 2 terms? Why we can't talk about that? Why? We don't know how, in other words, we don't know how to be objective about anything. We can't be objective, and we can't be objective because we are unable to separate the person and whatever we think about them from whatever the case actually is. We suffer in delusion. We're in delusion. We're in delusion. And I'm gonna leave you off on this. We like the delusion. When I get back, I'm gonna tell you why we like the delusion. But after these messages, we'll be right back because it is springtime and we are going to be coming outside with our summer dresses on and our tank tops. And your skin cannot be ashy when the sun come out and when you trying to look your best. So if you do not want to be ashy, then you need to click the link at the top of the chat for ashkicking.com. Go run to go and get this wonderful body butter and all of their body care products to get your skin at tip-top condition. This stuff smells wonderful. It goes on wonderfully. All of their body care products are actually very high quality. So you definitely want to click the link at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. And if this is going to be your first order, please use the promo code Crimson in order to receive 10% off. All right. I don't know how many likes I need, but I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you, Eugene. Said this is like teaching your children to stay away from drugs as opposed to staying away from the dealers or the users. It is also like me listening to content creators with critical thinking instead of idolizing them. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And unfortunately, we often lack nuance and we lack sense. We too dichotomous. I'll explain that later, but thank you. Thank you, Mogul, for your contribution. Thank you, Big Sneeze. Said great topics. I've been unable to catch your lives, but have been watching. Stay motivated, sister. Thank you so much. We like our delusion. And we have chosen certain mechanisms that we like to employ to let us remain in delusion and remain in this perpetual victimhood status that we like. And one of the main coping mechanisms that we utilize in order to maintain victimhood status, ignorance, and dysfunction and delusion is being dichotomous thinkers. We only see one or the other. We can, everything is mutually exclusive to us. If we agree with one thing, we must disagree with the other thing. Two things can never be true at the same time for us. Two things can never be true. We go to extremes. We are always at one extreme or the other. We never achieve middle ground in our thinking. And middle ground is where critical thinking happens. We don't like that. We like emotional thought. We like to feel something, but we don't like to think it through. We like to leave the thinking about it to our so-called leaders, people that we choose to want to represent all of our problems. We leave it up to them to do the thinking about it while we feel about it. As long as you are stuck feeling something, you cannot resolve a problem. As long as you are stuck feeling, you cannot reach solutions. I know I'm digging in a crate. 5 P's is a solution plan. This is a solution model to solve problems. First, you want to recognize the problem. You identify all of your issues, all of the circumstances, all of the barriers that are preventing you from personal excellence. I'm just reading it off, but we can apply this across the board. So first, you identify the problem. The first step to solving a problem is identifying exactly the nature of this problem. Where is this problem coming from? What are all of the factors that contribute to it even being a problem? Why is it a problem? What's the root of this problem? The second step or the second phase is the preparation. You are using this stage to make necessary changes to your circumstances regarding any negative thing. This is the emotional phase. This is where you get to feel how you want to feel about whatever the problem is. Whether you're mad about it, sad about it, got anxiety about it, stressed about it, worried about it, whatever it is, whatever your emotional set is in conjunction with this problem, that is the second phase. We never move out of this phase. Ever. As a people. We refuse, we will not move from this stage, the emotional phase, feeling the problem. We never move on to the plan. What are we going to do about the problem? This step is used to develop the strategy and to set the goals that you need to achieve in order to overcome the problem. The pursuit is what we're really scared of. The actual action, the practical things to do in order to resolve a problem. And the last step is the perfection, to now evaluate after some time has passed whether or not you are moving towards progress in your solution. We don't like none of that. We don't like none of that. As a group of people, we don't like none of that. We love our victimhood status. What are we going to do? Because it's not hypothetical. This is going to happen within 10 years, 5 to 10 years. What are we going to do when white survivalism is no longer a talking point for us? What we going to do? What are we going to do when the next 5 or 10 years white survivalism and the supremacist system and institutions says, what are we going to do when, not if, when that is no longer a concern of ours? Do we not know that that time is on the horizon? Do we not understand that? We don't know that. What are we going to do when that is no longer a part of our identity? What are we going to do when we're not the biggest victims in America? So when all of these other people that are coming into the country and the police start shooting them, and I'm not wishing this on it, I'm using it as an example, and the police start shooting them and they don't look like us. And every once in a while, one of us get shot, it ain't gonna be a big deal. Cause I mean, we'll just be another person then, right? We won't have the victimhood, right? Because we've already shifted environmentally. Culturally and environmentally, Black people talking about rights and all that ship has sailed. Do we know that? Do we understand that that ship has already sailed? Don't nobody care about us and talking about movements and talking about how unfair the system is to Black people and all. Then nobody care about that. Don't nobody want to hear that. And the main reason why they don't want to hear it is because we're moved out of that spot now. Other people have taken that spot. And it's not like we were boosted up. We were just phased out. I need y'all to know that. Other people are allowed in this country to take all of them government benefits and all of that, but they're not there to stay in that position. I need y'all to know that. They are not brought here to remain in a position of, I need welfare, I need food stamps, I need Section 8 vouchers, they're not there to stay. Some of them are going to stay just because it's a numbers thing, but they're not being brought here in order to remain in that place. They're going to ascend. You're phased out. How many women are in shelters with Section 8 vouchers? How many? How many? How many Black women are sitting in shelters right now with Section 8 vouchers and can't go nowhere? What are we gonna do when we can't blame massa no more for us being down? What is we gonna do? What we gonna do, massa? And the reason we're being phased out is because we spend so much time in foolishness. So much time in foolishness and not enough time understanding what Bo is talking about. Let's continue.
Then you have to kind of demonstrate how to classify their values, because not all values are the same. Morality is not the same as legality. We've said it 100 times on this channel, right? There's also ethical, which is in the middle. So you have moral, ethical, and legal. Legal
Say it
is
again,
what's
Bo.
permissible. There's also ethical, which is in the middle. Same. Morality is not the same as legality. We've said it 100 times on this channel.
Say
right?
it again, Bo.
There's also ethical. Because not all values are the same. Morality is not the same as legality. We've said it 100 times on this channel, right? There's also ethical, which is in the middle. So you have moral, ethical, and legal. Legal is what's permissible. It's the bare minimum. This is what you have to do to avoid direct negative repercussions from the state. Okay? That's the bare minimum standard. Ethical is society at large. What society at large wants you to do. What best practices are as determined by society. And that is designed to benefit society as a whole. Moral, those are your own. And theoretically, those, at least I believe, should be more strenuous than just about anything else. Those should be the most guiding, my belief on that. Those
Say it again, Bo. What should guide you more?
Moral, those are your own. And theoretically, those, at least I believe, should be more strenuous than just about anything else. Those should be the most guiding, my belief on that. Those are the ones that...
The moral should be the most guiding. The moral should be the most guiding. Your moral is in your biology, but there's another word that we associate with moral. And if it should be the guiding value, then it can't be a value found here, which is at the bottom. It's gonna have to be a value found at the top.
You determine for yourself. Now, an example that gets thrown out sometimes is not my baby, not my fountain. Okay. It's kind of common, not as common as it used to be, because the premise is you're at a park and there's a baby in a fountain. It's not your baby. It's not your fountain. Do you have an obligation to stop that child from getting hurt? Okay. Legally, Now, let me stop here because there's the traditional way of explaining this argument, and then there's the reality of today. If you are in the US, understand that in most jurisdictions, you kind of have a legal responsibility to remove the child from the fountain. But at the time this argument was made, initially, you didn't, not in the US anyway, because you have no obligation, because it's not your baby, it's not your fountain. Legally, you can just sit there and watch. Ethically, would you do that? Would society want you to do that? No, of course not. Of course not. Because what is best for society is that people work to defend the innocent, protect innocent lives. Moral. Why do you get the baby out of the fountain? Because not doing so is evil. These three things aren't the same: legal, ethical, and moral. I've seen grown men try to refute moral arguments with legal ones. Don't let your kid fall into that. Because if you're worried about creating little ideological foot soldiers, you also don't want them to just be the government's, allow the government to determine what is best. The government is a child of the people. The people are not children of the government.
Did we hear him? Did we hear him? He used the analogy of not my baby, not my fountain to differentiate between moral, ethics, and legality. If there's a little baby in a fountain that does not belong to you, and the fountain also does not belong to you, do you have a legal obligation to do anything with that child? There's, in some places, no, you don't. Ethically, is it okay? Is it all right socially? Is it socially acceptable? Would society deem you a monster or no if you were around to save a baby from drowning out of a fountain, regardless of the fact that it was not your baby and not your fountain? And finally, morally, would your own core principle values, your own moral code allow you to do it, whether society cared about it ethically or legally or not? I'm having just as much trouble explaining this as him. You see how many breaths he's taking? How many pauses he's taking? It's not because we don't understand what we're saying. It's because we understand that the concept is so simple, yet so complex, and people won't get it. We can't afford to be mired in not understanding this or getting caught in one or two aspects of it. We can't get caught. This is why I keep stressing for us to chill with getting emotional, all emotional about everything. We get mad at everything. We feel offended about everything. And I find it to be interesting because we don't know what code is. We don't know what being on code is. What is that to us? But a mythical ideology. Because the true essence of being on code is being in one value system. That's the true essence of being on code. We don't know what that is. We get mad at the optics of stuff. We don't be going no further. We'll dismiss things just because the way it look. We don't like to do no investigations of nothing. We don't like to do none of that. We do not like the thinking part. We like the feeling part, but we don't like the thinking part. You cannot feel your way out of extinction. You have to think your way out of it. And we have to do it. We cannot rely on those who have constructed their own moral ethics and legal in a way that does not benefit us. We can't rely on that because they've got a system that benefits them, and it just so happened not to benefit you. We gotta stop being mad at them about that. Stop it. We gotta stop being mad at white people for being white. Stop being mad at them. Stop being mad at them. Because we've spent hundreds of years mad at them. But we haven't spent so long outthinking them. We've spent hundreds of years mad at them for the wrongs and for the injustices and okay. So now when are we going to outthink them? When are we going to realize that we can set our own value system and that we don't need to wait on them to do anything for us or to us? We don't have to wait on them to alter biology or alter culture or alter the environment. We don't have to wait on them for that. We just scared to do it. We just scared to do it. You know what we scared to do? We scared to finish the job. We not scared to start it. Because it's my theory that the 10 life value system is created when you begin the change with biology. The lost value system is created when you begin the change with environment. That's my theory on this. Depending on which direction you're flowing will determine which value system you come out with, if that makes sense. Put a 1 in the chat if that made sense to you. We go about it the right way. We start biologically. We start with telling ourselves some truths. We start with trying to get our morals on track, to get our core belief on track, the things that we understand about ourselves and all of these types. We try to get that on track. Okay. And we've succeeded at that historically. We've done that multiple times. Culturally, we've affected that. There were times when our culture was not trashy. So we had our own culture and we was not dependent upon the majority American culture to dictate what was acceptable culturally for us. We did not allow their dictation of that. We dictated it. Where we are now afraid. See, at first we wasn't afraid of this. We just didn't have the numbers for it. And that was the change of environment. Now we're scared of it. We're scared to finish that job. Because in all reality, that's the physical part of it. That's the physical part of the change. We would have to change the environment physically. What am I talking about? You know all that foolishness they did on January 6th? All that foolishness. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But that's what they not scared to do. When they think that their cause is just enough, when they think they're right enough, they'll do what they did on January 6th. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that they'll do that. They'll do that. And then whatever the consequences is, they just take it. It was an attempt to change the environment physically. So when they start feeling a way and they feel too much of that way, they feel like they got the right to overthrow. They be feeling like that. Thank you. Thank you, Name Block. I didn't say that they were right in their ideology. It was stupid. It was actually ridiculous that they did it, but they did it. When they thought, however erroneously, when they thought that going through the legal, the voting and all that didn't do what it was supposed to do, and that they were being that the votes was not being counted right, and it was some type of voter fraud, and then when they felt like the system had failed them in that way, and that they could no longer rely on the system to make the changes in the environment that they wanted to make, then they went physical. We're going to change the environment physically. We're not going to use all of these different avenues to make the changes. We're gonna overstep all of that. And then we're gonna march over there, and we're not gonna stand around in the courtyard. We gonna get into a whole thing of foolishness. That's what we gonna do. We gonna act a fool when we get over there. When we get over there, we gonna act a pure out fool, and then see what it do. And if they feel so inclined about any other thing, they'll do it again. You absolutely right, Gary. if they feel so inclined and they feel all righteous about something, and they get the feeling that inner white man, and you done offended that inner Mr. Cartwright, oh, they marching down on you with the AR-15s. Listen, they not coming to play. They'll march right up to a governmental building with guns, talking about they citizens and they got the Second Amendment rights, and they'll get to talking about how the government can be overthrown when it is being tyrannical against the people, and that they get to pulling all that stuff out the bag. All that foolishness with Tiffany Henyard in Dalton. If they got somebody that was truly trampling over their rights, and it was one of them in a little town, and nothing they do could get her off the board and get her, they would come up to that government building and double dog dare her. Step another foot in here. You gonna resign today. Because you done put all kind of fees on us. You done put us in debt. No. You're not gonna do this to us. You're not gonna do this to us. You're gonna resign. We want your resignation pronto. You're not getting in this building. You're not getting in this building. We want your resignation today. Whether they be right or wrong is what I'm trying to tell you. Whether they really in the right or they all the way wrong, they don't care. When they feel a way, and they'll do it to anybody. They'll do it against their government officials. They certainly do it against us. Tulsa, Oklahoma is a key example. It's not the only example, but it's a key example when they could not use other means to dismantle and destroy what Black people have built. They physically came and did. When they could not use politics and legislations and policies and this and that to destroy and disrupt and dismantle Black Wall Street, when it just came with a gun. We're going to dismantle it today. You're going to be done with that today. We done. We done with you succeeding. We done with that. We didn't tell you to keep on succeeding. You done came over here and did the impossible. Not today. You gonna stop being impossible today. You gonna be very possible today. Cause we'll go so far as to drop a bomb on you. We'll go that far. We ain't no telling how far we go, baby. We go all the way to the dirt, baby. We go all the way into the core of the earth, baby. You go low, we going all the way to the earth's core. We gonna go all the way down to the magma chamber. What are you talking about? You can't go lower than me. That's what they say. You're not gonna go lower than me, baby. Please. Because I know you're not willing to do what I'm willing to do. You're not willing to do what you must in order to attain power. You're not willing to do more for that than I am to maintain power. See, I'm willing to wipe y'all off the face of the earth. in order to maintain power? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to not be wiped off the face of the earth? And what we've come down to is that we're not even willing to learn the concepts that we're supposed to learn in order to avoid extinction. We're not even willing to do that. We want to argue about cheesecake factories. We want to argue about whether or not we should go 50-50 and whether or not all women is prostitutes and whether or not we supposed to be providing for a family and whether or not we should really get into a family. We want to argue about that. He's up here talking about 3 years ago, Bold, the fifth column, was talking about how to address children with the overall concept of biology, culture, and environment. And we want to talk about whether or not it's okay to have 13 kids and no daddy. That's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about how we want a man that's making $500K and and can take us on trips and let us live a soft life. Thank you, James. And Kendra, I hit the likes even if I did not hit the entire stream because I know you speaking truth. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sivan, for becoming a channel member. Make sure that you guys make sure that you are choosing. I know I have 2 levels, but only one of them allows you access to membership videos and content. So if you want to be privy to the conversations and the content that we have for members, both now and going forward, make sure that you choose Crimson Knights, not Crimson Squires. Okay? Either way is fine by me, but I'm just letting everybody know that if you want to become a member of the channel and you want access to membership only videos and things of that nature, please make sure that you're choosing the $10 option rather than the $5 option. But it's up to you. And I thank you very much for all of your support either way. Thank you, HVAC said, hence Civil War is coming out next week, and I'm going to see it. Every Black person better go see that movie. Thank you, Timothy Blue. It said January 16th is the first time they behaved this way, toppling of Reconstruction and the destruction of thriving Black communities. Exactly. Thank you again, HVAC saying Montgomery, them folks ain't gonna try that again. My home state gave Black people the blueprint. We ain't learned nothing. I just wanted to do a refresher course. Thank you so much, Ramel, for your contribution. I appreciate you. We needed the refresher course. All this week, we doing refresher courses. Today was biocultural. I might hit it again. I don't know. We need refresher courses, though, because we don't understand the system. We say the system, but we don't know what that is. We don't know what that is. Jump down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, And this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.